Oh, I forgot mine.
No, you didn't.
I don't know where. There we go.
Well, it's too late because we're live.
We're live. That's what you do, you son of a bitch.
Hey, you gotta keep your head on a swivel at all times here.
Nah, dog. That ain't me.
Well, it's too late.
That ain't me.
That ain't me.
Hey, Chris.
What?
You know what we did last week that we didn't finish?
No, what?
Our top Marvel movie rankings.
18. That's 18.
Pre-Infinity War, post-Black Panther. You aggregated all four of our 18 through 11.
Yes.
Did you not?
I sure did. Would you like me to refresh everyone?
I think that would be great if you would refresh what the aggregate is. Hey, our boy Perkins is in chat just in time to hear our top 10 Marvels.
Okay. So coming in at number 18, that's a surprise to no one, is Thor: The Dark World. Number 17 is The Incredible Hulk. Number 16, Iron Man 2. Number 15 is Thor. Number 14 is Age of Ultron. Did I math good? I don't think I mathed good.
You never math good.
Your math is off.
And number 13 was Doctor Strange, and that's all the ones that we have aggregate scores for.
Oh, we don't have enough for 12 and 11?
No.
Okay. But you will tell us later?
I will tell you as soon as they're all lined up.
We haven't all said a couple of them, yes. They haven't been mentioned yet. So
I love it.
What was that?
Nothing.
A Night in the Woods would make life better.
Okay. So,
all right. So number 10.
I guess I'll start with number 10.
All right. Start.
My number 10, and I want. It's important to preface this that these are pretty narrow margins between numbers, and it's basically coming down to kind of how much I would want to rewatch them in the future. My number 10 is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
I think it's not quite as good as Winter Soldier. I think it kind of hinges on that airport fight scene.
Okay.
That kind of makes and breaks the movie, at least for me. Shout out also to Chris Evans' biceps holding down a helicopter, because that's a baller ass scene.
Yeah.
But
the bicep that launched 1,000 wet panties.
Yeah. It's not as good as like ripping the log in half, but it's pretty good.
It's how believable it is when he does things like that. That is like he's holding down a helicopter. It just feels like he really is.
But I watched this in preparation for Black Panther, and I really think that in the future I will probably just watch the fight scene on YouTube, because the rest of it left me a little cold, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my number 10.
Is it Matt too? Is Matt next?
Sure, I'll go next.
Is that the order?
My number 10 is the OG, the one that started it all, the first Iron Man.
Your first Iron Man is number 10 on your list?
Yep.
And I haven't even heard Cars 2 yet.
So don't worry.
Oh, God.
Cars 2 is coming. But you'd be surprised where it falls alongside Cars 1 and 3.
Oh, no.
My top Marvel movie of all time is actually the Punisher, but not the good one, the Warzone one.
But not Dolph Lundgren?
Actually, I'm not going to lie. Punisher Warzone is very underrated.
Yeah. I actually forgot that it counted, and I think
it doesn't count, but
yeah.
If those kind of movies counted, we'd have to put in the Fantastic Four and all the X-Men and.
No, because Warzone was Marvel getting Punisher back. That Marvel actually did that movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I forgot that it was a part of that. I forgot entirely.
What about
the
Punisher from the 90s?
No, that doesn't count.
The Dolph Lundgren.
I will say, what's his name? John Travolta was a phenomenal villain in the cheesy, hammy Punisher. I love that movie so much. I don't know why. There's no reason I should enjoy it as much as I do, but I do.
No, like the Warzone was a Marvel low budget thing during right after the Ponzi scheme thing, so they couldn't afford to do a big budget Punisher movie, but they had gotten the rights back, and it wasn't part of the cinematic universe, so we can just because we have a Punisher now, so it doesn't count. Let's just scrap it. Yeah,
we have a real Punisher.
However, back to why I picked Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie and such a solid origin story. The only reason it's not higher is because compared to other movies on the list, it lacked a bunch of the flash and wow moments and the holy shit moments that I've come to love about superhero movies.
Yeah.
It's just a solid film that happens to have Iron Man in it, but you got to give that movie credit for pretty much 180 public perception of Robert Downey Jr.
And Marvel
or
film preference. I mean,
or superhero movies.
Because we all make the joke that, Disney and Marvel turned basically their C and D tier teams into these massive international sensations, because now people think Marvel, they think Iron Man, they think Thor, they think Captain America. But in the 90s and early 2000s, it was X-Men, it was Spider-Man, and the rest.
Pretty much it.
Nobody cared. Yeah. So.
And now the really successful parts of DC are like Green Arrow.
Yeah.
The Kmart Batman.
Right. Exactly. No, but that's
how weird is that?
I wish I could put Iron Man higher because I did really enjoy it. But like I said, I am a man that loves Flash and
literally.
But no, I like those hype moments in movies that are the ones that you remember and talk about all the time. Iron Man didn't really have that many, and that's why it's lower. That's all.
Okay. I think we're gonna have exact reverse sort of things going on.
Probably. What I value in a superhero movie and a movie in general is far different than people that actually know about cinema and film.
I think we are seeing some consensus-ish things, and I like that we are different and diverse in what we look for in these movies. It's showing the variety of things you can get out of them in the first place. Because my number 10 is Thor Ragnarok, and I think that's going to be higher on everybody else's list. For me, the movie. See, this is a movie that is immensely rewatchable. So that's not my highest priority, but that's got it into the top 10. I love what it did by showing off Norse mythology and everything like that, actually diving all the way in. The opening sequence is one of my favorite opening sequences of any of the Marvel movies. With the hammer flying around, you get the hammer POV and all that shit, and an immigrant song going in the background. I mean, but for me, all of the dramatic moments fall flat. And the thing about that is, if they had worked, if I gave a shit that Odin died, which I really should have, then everything around it gets funnier because it's cathartic.
Yeah.
The jokes land harder. It's like Joss Whedon and James Gunn have this way of balancing humor and drama in a way and pathos, where you really care about the characters because they were funny, and then they're in real danger, and then somebody might actually be, killed at any moment. And realistically, it's like this weird dance that they're doing that I think enhances each element enhances the rest. And for me, Ragnarok is a pure comedy, even more so than Ant-Man. Ant-Man had more workable pathos to me for the real life of those characters than this movie did, which was straight up like a Will Ferrell movie with a superhero power, only it happened to be in the Marvel Universe. So other than that, I really do. And I think it also relies on you caring about the characters from the other movies. So that's why it still works. If you didn't have the previous Avengers movies for this movie to fall back on, I don't think the characterizations even work.
Yeah.
So that's why it's this low, but also why it's this, because it is insanely funny and extremely fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Josh.
What about me?
Yeah.
This is my Captain America #1, the first Avenger spot.
Hello.
This is this is the top 10 list, and I think this is another movie like Iron Man, the first Iron Man. It sets a whole new tone for the Marvel universe, and plus you've taken a character like Captain America, which is I believe is like the Marvel cornerstone character, and you knock it out of the fucking park. Even the campy part with the Holland Commandos and all that is still great because it really feeds into the into that time frame, that era of the 1940s. So
yeah, it kind of does give the Marvel Cinematic Universe its golden age.
Yeah, it really does.
That's why I still wish all the Netflix shows were set in the 70s.
Plus, I really, really enjoyed Red Skull in this. I think Hugo did it.
Yeah,
really,
he didn't
really
like him or got too campy or something.
Yeah, I really liked it. I like
What?
the whole Hydra setup a lot because then that just comes into play in all the future Marvel.
Yeah, it's
movies.
enhanced by the future of it too.
Yeah,
I like that. It really, that's the other thing about this. This is a weird list to make because they all work in tandem with each other.
Yeah.
So some movies enhance other movies. I think Winter Soldier enhanced all of them when it first came out. I think Ragnarok to a certain extent does a lot of work to lighten up the mood before Infinity War.
Yeah, it really does.
So in another way, it didn't have to do anything really dramatic, And Black Panther was right about to come out and be extremely dramatic, as in the opposite. But it's weird. Anyway,
it's a good weird.
Okay, well, my number 9 is Iron Man 3. I kind of, and I know Matt and I have argued about this for years. I like the Mandarin thing.
Yeah.
It kind of is. It's so shitty to the Mandarin that it makes me laugh because I don't care about the Mandarin.
Yeah,
I guess that's a big deal too.
They were way too ambitious in that first Iron Man to be like, ooh, the Cult of the Ten Rings, and there's no way they were ever actually getting Mandarin on a movie. That's crazy. But having said that, I like the setup of this. I like that this is, kind of I think this is kind of one of the first Marvel movies where it's not like a rubber stamped Marvel movie. This is a Shane Black movie that has Iron Man doing Iron Man things in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fun to watch. I think its biggest flaw is that it's a little overly long, but I don't hate it, and I definitely kind of would like to revisit it because I haven't seen it in years, I think.
Yeah. I haven't seen it since maybe the year after it came out, I think, and I loved it the whole time. Because here's the thing, it transitions really easily because it's my number 9. So,
neat.
Yeah. And harkening back, I'm remembering a little bit of what Matt hated about it. And I'll say this. First of all, Guy Pearce is the Mandarin. That needs to be understood.
Yeah.
Fuck, the Ben Kingsley character is a made-up thing, an artifice. And Mandarin means the aide to the king. So the real Mandarin is next to the Mandarin. And that's the Guy Pearce is in the middle of saying that when, he gets knocked out by Gwyneth Paltrow or whatever. Also, he, Hail to the King reveals maybe he isn't either. There's a real Mandarin somewhere. So there's that twist, which I thought in the moment when they revealed Ben Kingsley was like just some asshole. I was like, oh, that made me laugh hysterically, first of all. And yeah, I wasn't too attached to Mandarin. He is the first Iron Man villain I ever met other than Fin Fang Foom. Another one I wouldn't be upset with you making fun of if you introduced him.
Yeah.
We will not brook any mocking of Fin Fang Foom on this show.
Come on. You read it, right? It's hilarious.
Did you hear Saki?
No.
Fin Fang who?
Oh my god.
Shut your mouth, Saki. Fin Fang Foom is great. Shut up.
But yeah, and I liked that he didn't have the costume on most of the movie and had to be Tony Stark figuring out what to do. I like the Extremis storyline it was based on, and I love Shane Black movies as a general. I like Lethal Weapon, I like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I like all those movies.
And it's a Christmas movie.
It had to be. All his only good movies are Christmas movies. It's actually really weird that he didn't write Die Hard. Anyway, yeah, moving on.
Yeah, that Matt is at Matt. What is your number 9?
My number 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
All right.
What?
No, I'm just saying. Oh.
I thought I heard a oh no. I was like, whoa. All right.
No judgment here. I'm just saying oh.
That was just him putting you back on his list of people to kill. Don't worry about that.
No, it's like, okay, I'm like Chris though, because at this point in the list, they're all like good. So I had to get creative for why certain things didn't place as high as other certain things. And I really loved Ego as a villain. I like the new characters. I like the character arcs that previous characters got that fleshed them out and made them more entertaining. I think the reason I put it under the first Guardians is because as a sequel, it lost that surprise magic that when no one thought Guardians would be a big hit because it's who are the Guardians, and then it kind of came out of nowhere. It's kind of, I think, the same reason most people don't love Kingsman 2 as much as the first one, because while it's still just as good a movie, it loses that uniqueness and that newness, and it just becomes like a solid continuation. But I really enjoyed it. It's just I couldn't put it over the first one for me. Mary Poppins, y'all. Like Saki Poppins.
That line is one of the reasons it's higher on my list.
Yeah, no, it's a great line. Joke.
So classic.
I got so many things. So my number 9 is the first Avengers.
Whoa.
And well,
but I like it. I mean,
yeah, there's so many other movies. It's a really good. It's a great team movie, and it's probably the best team movie that will ever be made until Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like this was great, and I have to say one thing about this movie is the Hulk.
Yeah,
fucking
it's also the best Hulk movie.
This is the best Hulk movie.
The Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
I thought we disagreed.
No, the Avengers is the best
Avengers is the best Hulk movie.
Avengers 2, gotcha.
No,
just punch yourself.
I'm done. I'm done with you. What is Saki in it? This is the best Hulk movie. The scene with Black Widow and Hulk is amazing, and the scene with Hulk and Loki is great.
Yes.
So that's my number 9.
Sorry. Did you hear what Saki said?
No.
She said you should have just put a sake in it.
That's terrible.
Was that a tumbleweed?
There was.
Oh God, I love it so much.
I can just imagine. I can imagine like the whole side of the chat just talking nonsense about Saki. Just
not paying attention to anything we're saying.
Yeah, it's all about Saki. It's all about Saki and Matt's relationship. There's an SNL sketch that happened last week all about it. It was fan-fucking-tastic. Charles Barkley's pretty 8.
So pressing on, my number 8 is Iron Man the First.
Yeah.
This movie is so important. You know, it really launched everything because it took this character who, let's recall, cast our mind back to the distant past of 2006. Like, no one gave a shit about Iron Man. No one gave a shit about Robert Downey Jr. And it kind of worked. And then all it took was one line about the Avengers Initiative, and we have a whole cinematic universe out of it.
Yeah.
You know, this is Robert Downey Jr.'s best role. It's kind of like Johnny Depp's first run as Captain Jack. It was kind of like
similar,
but unlike Captain Jack, we still like Tony Stark.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't wear out Captain Jack. They wore out Captain Jack, and Johnny Depp wore out his welcome as a human.
Yeah.
and I'm tired of pirates.
Yeah.
Over too.
But I mean, like this movie's so important. Like, he's so fresh and vibrant and different from what we had seen previously in superhero movies. Yeah. And Jeff Bridges maybe isn't the strongest villain, but compared to who we get later, he's a fucking tank. So
yeah, I'd say he's like top 3 villains.
Yeah,
because of how weak most of the villains have been.
And it did give us that line about making a suit in a cave out of scraps.
Yeah, that out of scraps.
Great line, tremendous. So yeah, Iron Man the first is my number 8.
Okay, my number 8, Chris.
Yeah,
Ant-Man.
really.
I really loved Ant-Man. I love the heist aspect of the movie because I just have a soft spot for heist movies in general. Love your boy who never ages, ever.
You gonna say his name?
Paul Rudd.
No.
Paul Rudd?
No.
Backwards. They've actually looked at the pictures and figured out that he looks better now. And
Paul Rudd and, side note, Paul Rudd and Keanu Reeves are vampires. It's the only explanation. No, but I really enjoyed. I forget the guy who played him, but his buddy who always gives the recaps in the best way.
Oh, the Latino guy, right?
Yeah. I will say I saw someone mention this on Twitter. I would love if Marvel would put out like a little short before Infinity War where he recaps all the events leading up to Infinity War.
Oh my God, that makes me so excited. Just the idea of Michael Pena, Michael
Pena, yeah.
Doing the whole recap? Of just recapping the entire Marvel Universe real quick?
Like everything leading up to MCU. Even if it was just the stuff related to Thanos and the Infinity Stones, I don't care. He would be great.
Dude, they shouldn't have even made a trailer for Infinity War. I keep saying they don't need trailers for that movie. You can just drop it like Beyonce overnight. Don't let anybody know when it's coming out. And we would literally flood the theater for a year and a half. But yes. All you had to do is make just that be the trailer for Infinity War. Is Michael Pena.
Yeah. No, I'm saying if they were smart, they would do that. I think it would be the absolute best.
And they'd save like $50 million on the trailer. Yeah.
Well, it's also like, look at what they did right before Thor Ragnarok came out, right? They did the what was Thor doing Civil War, and they did the little goofy videos where it's him and his new roommate. And he's just like, that's the kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be. Well, it would be that silly if they did a recap with Michael Pena, but that's what they should do. Just a little short.
It should at least be a one shot, right? Like that. Like so.
Like they don't even have to get the actors to cut the footage. They can literally have him drawing like little stick figures of the characters as he narrates.
Deadpool is literally getting away with it right now. They are not having trailers. Not really. They've shown like just 4 seconds of footage, and the rest is Deadpool playing with action figures.
Yeah. No, it's genius. Like, because why spend money
about not seeing any other movie? Like, which means they'll enjoy the movie better.
Yeah, because we won't know anything about it.
You don't even have to be done with effects.
Yeah.
He makes fun of the fact that they're not done with effects.
Yeah.
I love that.
Anyway, go on.
And but Ant-Man. I mean, that's why I love it. Michael Pena and heist films in general. It's not as high as it could have been because Angry Yellow Ant-Man is one of the worst villains that Marvel.
He's called Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket,
and that's where
Yellow Evil Ant-Man.
Iron Man plot point too.
Because it's the whole before this current run of good villains. He was like the poster child of Marvel's inability to make a compelling villain.
It really felt like the Gen 1, like it made you feel how much Ant-Man was supposed to be in Phase 1.
Yeah.
And got delayed and reworked and reworked and delayed and reworked. So he still had this villain left over from the Phase 1 sort of thing. So we're on 8, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Okay.
For similar reasons, while you were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you talked about the surprise sort of wow factor coming out of left field thing. When I rewatch Guardians, that being gone, I feel like it lessens the movie and moved it down my list because I'm used to all of it now, and so some of it none of it falls flat. It's just not as amazing anymore. Whereas 2 is now higher for me because I went in like that. So it is retaining, and to me, it's got a lot of emotional weight and a little bit more of a punch. It's kind of the Empire Strikes Back of the Guardians of the Galaxy series, where they're all split up and they have like personal arcs that I felt like really, I don't know, I just loved the ego thing, and once again, that's one of that bumps Jeff Bridges down.
Yeah, he that was a great villain, no doubt.
Yeah,
no diggity.
All right, that's you, Howard.
Yeah, number 8 for me is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Ooh.
And
that's a fair place.
Yeah, and I think Michael Keaton. I think he makes this movie. I really
see. We talk about the weak villains, but I feel like we've talked about how strong the past few have been.
Yeah, I think Michael Keaton makes this movie,
like
and I think his causes are justified for being a villain, and I think this is also where Marvel can actually shine with a lot of their villains.
They
can bring them down to a reality where, you know,
they're created by the economic and
they're created by the disasters that these superheroes are creating. It's the whole Batman philosophy. Batman creates all of his villains.
Yeah.
With no Batman, you don't have these villains. And
that's not true. I've seen Gotham.
Where all the villains exist. Yes.
Yeah. No. But Michael Keaton makes this movie, and I feel like this is the best Spider-Man that come to date. It's a fantastic Spider-Man universe that they create too, and how it just blends perfectly with the rest of the Marvel universe is great.
I really want Kraven to hunt this kid. I really want Kraven.
And the kid's he's so likable as Peter Parker, and it's really, I don't know, everything about it is enjoyable and great. And you made a kind of a cheesy Spider-Man villain into something really amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes me have so much faith if they decide to do someone like Kraven or Mysterio,
who
by nature are goofier villains.
Kraven, goofy.
But I would love to see
him been pulled off.
But yeah, you can do Mysterio. Yeah.
He's up like 3 times, but you can just use those 3 times and put them together.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do we got? 7?
Number 7.
Yeah. No. Wait. Before we do, Saki had something she wanted to ask you. Saki?
I'm good.
She wanted to know, why did the Batman become the Birdman? And Saki got very upset you didn't hear her question.
What a salt butt.
Yeah, no one likes a
Birdman.
Saki, okay?
Batman, Birdman, Vulture.
What?
No one knows. Moving on.
Number 7.
Animals. That's all we know.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Chris.
Is Thor Ragnarok.
It's like his feelings.
What can I say about Thor Ragnarok? You know, you touched briefly upon this. You know, maybe it's a little too jokey and undercuts the seriousness of it. But Thor was in such a bad place that it kind of needed this more than anything else.
Yeah.
And frankly, I can't be mad at a movie that gave me Hela's big dumb horns and Fenris and all the other super cool Norse mythology things that I've always wanted to be in a Thor movie that just never quite made it. I don't know how it's going to stand, you know, over the course of time, but in this particular instance, I was thoroughly pleased watching this, and
you were thoroughly.
I think you accidentally said thoroughly.
I'm
so proud of you, Chris.
Shut up.
That is the most Matthew thing you've ever said.
And I hate it. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, no, and I can't be mad at Thor Ragnarok. It's flawed, but I still had a great time watching it. So
I thoroughly think that movie Ragnaroked.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Thanks.
Stop.
Oh man, love it.
No. Okay.
Matt, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Captain America: Civil War.
Wow.
And because almost of the same reasons you did, initially in the back of my mind, it was like one of my favorite ones. But then I rewatched it with my parents, and I realized so much of why I love Civil War hinged on that airport scene and how awesome it was seeing Spider-Man for the first time and Ant-Man go Giant Man, and Black Panther, and all of them coming together in probably the coolest thing. And it was such a long scene with so many great moments. And I love Baron Zemo as a villain. But then the rest of the movie I felt kind of dragged a little. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I just think too much of the film. So actually, it's the same problem I had with what was that James Bond movie, Spectre, where every single plot point hinged on unbelievable coincidence of the heroes. Like, for the plan to work, how would he have known Bucky, Tony, and Cap would walk in and open that video at the same time?
Oh, I think you're talking about the one before Spectre, which was
Skyfall.
One with Harvey or
Skyfall relies on a series of
Skyfall
complicated machinations that he had to know the train would crash into an exact tunnel and then climb up it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and while at the moment I love that stuff, when I had to be a little more critical to figure out the hierarchy, it was stuff like that. But man, that airport scene is top tier.
Yeah.
I do love, like, and Black Panther just had a great introduction.
Yeah.
He had the power of the Black Panther straight away. The Black Panther.
But sir, you're black.
Accent.
Anyway, speaking of shame.
You shouldn't use that accent anymore, man.
No, I should not. I am way too white to pull it off.
Far too white.
But yeah, that's why Civil War is number 7.
That's
it's not that you're too white. It's that white people who do talk like that tend to be pro-apartheid, so you probably shouldn't be doing it.
That's fair.
All right. Doug, what is your number 7?
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Hmm.
Like we already said, one of the stronger villains. The drive to the dance is one of my favorite scenes in any of the Marvel movies. The tension in that, just the real tension, and nobody's in a costume, and the fact that they didn't kill the Vulture, which was like super. That's always been important to me. Like, I understand when it happens, but I'd rather you leave big, giant, like Sinister Six level villains fucking alive. Don't kill the Joker. Okay, that's all I ask from a Batman movie is don't kill the Joker. But they left him alive. Tom Holland is the first time I've seen both Peter Parker and Spider-Man show up. I feel like the Tobey Maguire movies had a perfect Peter Parker who I kind of believed was Spider-Man, but never really felt the Spider-Man happen, And when we got Andrew Garfield, boy, was he fucking Spider-Man when he was Spider-Man. He had the Brooklyn accent. He's sarcastic. He's hilarious. He's making fun of the criminals and the villains as he messes them up. And then he'd take off the mask, and he was just like so cool. And it bugged me out,
He is really cool.
Bugged him.
He was so cool. And then this guy, here's the thing. Tom Holland has the Michael J. Fox factor. Which is what I love about him. Yeah. Is that he's a good-looking kid who should be the most popular kid in school if you stop and think about it. But for some reason, it's totally believable that he only has one friend. In Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox's only friend is an old man down the street. And we buy it. And there's no reason. Michael J. Fox was literally the most popular actor of his age group at the time for a reason. But for some reason, you just buy it. Yeah. This is just this weird kid who's not weird. That's his weirdness. Everybody else is weird.
Like even stretch that metaphor to Teen Wolf, where he's a fucking loser. His only friend is
that movie. And he's Michael J. Fox. I think it's being short helped him.
I think so.
But anyway, so he's got the same factor of you believe he's Spider-Man, you believe he's kind of nerdy and not really fitting in. Oh, the Zendaya thing, one of the better twists, in my opinion, is selling me on that character hard and then revealing who she really is.
Yeah, way better than the Mandarin. It's like the reverse Mandarin.
Yeah. There's another fucking phenomenal thing about it. It's just a return to basics, and then also he's in the universe again, finally.
Yeah.
Which is really satisfying on a lot of points. Yeah. Anyway.
I lost track. Number 7?
Yes.
For me, number 7 is Ant-Man. I really enjoyed Ant-Man a lot. I'm really excited about the sequel coming out. But the one thing I liked about Ant-Man is the Robin Hood aspect of the character. And I think this is one thing, we need more Robin Hood-esque type movies, even with superhero movies.
Well, Marvel did need an injection of working class.
Yeah, and
into it.
And Scott Lang is perfect. And I think his whole backstory is great, and him getting the suit's great. And Paul Rudd is perfect casting for this character to exist in this universe. And what's his name? The explanation, the whole thing at the end of the movie is just fantastic. Yeah, the villain's not that great, but it's Ant-Man, and it is a heist movie.
And I think we all know, like, the origin movies, the villain doesn't have to matter as much as in a sequel. So hopefully, was it Ghost or something?
Yeah, Ghost is the next one.
The second one.
So
hopefully that's
going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting to see. And it's kind of the other cool thing about this is, like, there was already an established Ant-Man previously, and an already established
history.
So there's more history.
Bridges to like basically Cap to Iron Man. Is good in my book.
All right. Who's next? Chris?
Yes.
Number 6.
Number 6, I have Guardians of the Galaxy the Second. I think, when we talk about Guardians proper, some of you guys have already touched upon this. The Guardians proper was such a breath of fresh air, and it came out of nowhere. And I think Guardians 2 really kind of leveled out a bit with this really emotional father-son story, and kind of one of the better villain plots we've seen in this movie, kind of fitting for a movie that takes place across the galaxy.
Yeah.
I think all the characters grow in logical ways, particularly Peter, in the fact that he doesn't really grow until he does at the very end. I think it's kind of underrated because people wanted it to be as explosive as the first Guardians, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, it couldn't be.
I'm really charmed by it, and I can't wait to kind of revisit it in a bit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Doug. Sorry, number 6.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Here's the thing I like about that movie is, first of all, it's to me the right move, and the move that most people where they misstep is they try to go bigger on the second one, but it's actually supposed to be heavier on the second one. It doesn't matter if you have a bigger explosion; it's got to matter more to the characters. The story has to hit home, and I really think it does. I think the Yondu stuff, like, I never thought I'd ever cry when a Michael Rooker character dies.
Right.
And then the Mary Poppins thing is just like, it makes me tear up now when I think about it.
Yeah.
Because he's like, and I love that Gunn's made these movies about family, and that's the connective thread of this entire thing. One of the things that makes Guardians 1 work is the opening scene is like the opening of a Pixar movie, where your heart's breaking for this kid right out of the gate. And then you meet him as the goofy, maladjusted adult. And then this is him meeting his father. And one of my favorite things about it, Gunn undercuts your expected scene that you're going to get at every moment. Like, you think you're going to get the classic Baby Groot stepping over all the sleeping pirate scene. But he steps over them with no problem. It's that he keeps bringing the wrong thing back, that type of thing. And my favorite turn is when I am totally expecting the movie to be the Guardians have to fight Peter because he's been brainwashed by his father, who's gotten into his head and manipulated him. And as soon as Kurt Russell says, "That's why I killed your mom," he just starts firing. And that breaks my heart because it's right. It's the right thing that no one ever does in any of those movies. Is that you would snap right the fuck out of it if that was your mom. Like, there's no fucking way. And that's what it just struck me as so emotionally true. And then when he's fighting and the use of the Fleetwood Mac song that I've never liked, that now I adore. because of the chain, which is in the background of that sequence where they're fighting, and I'm like, it just means more in that context than it ever has to me. So anyway, just a combination of things that I think are phenomenal.
Word. What about you, Joshy Poo?
So my number 6 is Jeff Goldblum.
Ragnarok.
This movie is
You should dress as him for Halloween. Look
Oh,
at you with the hair.
this movie is a delight to my existence. Everything about Ragnarok made me happy. I was smiling from the beginning to the end of this movie. I just made me I don't know. I loved it so much. I loved the opening scene. I loved him just spinning around, chained, and he just hold on. All right, finish. Like, that was great. And Jeff Goldblum's lines were amazing. I am so happy Jeff Goldblum is in this universe. It just made the Marvel Universe into the greatest cinematic universe ever.
We need to watch some of those deleted scenes when this is out.
It's my birthday. And Hulk is great, too.
This is the international sign.
Can we just really talk about how great Mark Ruffalo is?
Oh, yeah. Finally getting him to be funny.
Yeah, it's also fantastic.
Him hitting the Rainbow Bridge hard was one of the funniest moments they've ever had in anything.
This Thor 3 was amazing. And it really,
what a turnaround.
Yeah, it really is. And that's the other thing about this. The other two movies were really weak, but the third one fucking knocks it out of the park. And it establishes Thor as an essential character to take out Thanos.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of like a new Thor 1, because the villain's a little weak. There's not a lot of emotional weight, but it sure sets up a new status quo.
Yeah.
For him.
Plus he gets an eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, did you say your number 6?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
My number 6 is the first Guardians.
All right.
Yeah.
Incredibly funny. I really enjoyed the action. It got me invested in characters that I only before that point had tangentially known about because of various Marvel space crossovers with the X-Men. Like, I remember there was this big X-Men crossover that brought them into the Shi'ar and the Kree and everybody.
Yeah.
The Phoenix and Scott Summers' stupid third brother.
Vulcan's cool.
Vulcan. You hate Vulcan too. Shut up.
I loathe Vulcan. He sucks.
Yeah. And I remember the Guardians popping. I was like, who's this raccoon and this tree guy and this guy with tattoos and this green chick and this guy with the helmet? Like, I didn't know who they were. But then the movie came out and I started getting really intrigued by them. It also, at that point, I was really into Parks and Rec. So seeing him be Peter Quill was just fantastic. And then I loved even better when the next season of Parks and Rec started and they had to explain why he was suddenly ripped.
Yeah.
And they just did it in a throwaway line. It was like, I just stopped drinking beer. It was,
How much beer were you drinking? Yeah, too much.
Yeah, it was great. It's like, I don't know, it's stupid stuff like that, but I think all the cast, I think Vin Diesel as the guy who only said 3 words were great. Rocket was great. Everything about it. I mean, again, it suffered from a weaker villain.
Yeah.
Ronan the Accuser was not fantastic, but I overall really enjoyed the movie, and it was compared to what had come before. It was one of the first truly different Marvel movies. I don't think it could have it could have been construed as formulaic as the others had been getting, but I really dug it.
A whole new avenue for them to go down.
Oh yeah, it proved that a more comedy focused superhero movie could work.
Which is kind of what Iron Man did in the first place.
Yeah. Well, Iron Man paved the way by having a lot of quips and like snark and stuff, but I still wouldn't count it as a comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Guardians was the first one they put out that was then followed by like Ant-Man and with Thor and Spider-Man that decided, oh wait, we can have a lot of levity and humor and quips. It made it feel like Bendis was writing the movie script.
Yeah.
Or Saki. Just a Saki script.
No, you wrote Deadpool. We all know that.
It's true. But yeah. So number 5, Chris, what you got?
Number 5 is The Avengers.
Heyo.
The quintessential team movie that I'm not sure has been topped, and I think Infinity War is the only one that could possibly top it. Everything kind of magically clicked. This was the perfect buildup of all the previous movies to one final culmination. And they struggled a little bit in the aftermath, but this movie was just so perfect in the way it was thought out and made, and how everything built to it. What else can you say about it? I mean, we would not, if the Avengers had failed, we would be done 10 movies ago. So I love it. I watched it again recently this year, and I was still pretty enchanted by it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's fun because my number 5 is also The Avengers.
What?
Oh.
For the same reason, there is very little that can top that feeling of for the first time, because it had never been done before. This build up of years, and then we're finally getting this team up superhero movie that's bringing them all together. It had never been done before, and it was pulled off so well. That scene where they start fighting the Chitauri and doing combination attacks, like Iron Man shooting the beams off of Captain America's shield while he hits all the other people with it. The Hulk moment with Loki, just everything about it was executed well. And I dug it. There was so much about it that it still holds up, I think, definitely over Avengers 2. I'm excited to see where Infinity War goes. I have a strong feeling that it'll be just as good, if not better, because I think the Russo brothers know what to do and how to do it well, and they can juggle large casts. So fingers crossed. But yeah, I really like the Avengers a lot. Again, because the same reason Iron Man was a lot lower. Avengers was made of all those holy shit moments. Like, did you see that? Because again, it was the first of its kind and did it so well.
Yeah.
Doug, what's your number 5, son?
Iron Man 1.
Ooh.
For all the reasons people have talked about it being really good, but also that it giving it a little bit more credit maybe than other people for paving the way, but also that it was 85% improvised by Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. That it was perfect casting to actor. I think Obadiah Stane works better because it wasn't a formula at the time. It was just a poetic mirroring of two characters with similar MOs. And still there was the personal connection. It wasn't just I think the problem with Yellow Jacket is there's not really any weight to him other than him having one of the suits. The Obadiah Stane's betrayal is actually a little bit better of a plot point than the introduction of the 9 rings, and just getting to watch all that stuff for the first time actually happen. And I didn't care about Iron Man. I went in there because I cared about Marvel doing a movie, and I walked out loving Iron Man, which was weird, and wouldn't be the last time that this company did that to me. Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, really all these characters were characters I didn't ever pick up a book for. I was a Spider-Man and X-Men person like most people, and I cared about Captain America, and I read Avengers books, but I didn't read any of their individual stuff. And the words Avengers Initiative at the end just are almost worth the inclusion in the top 5, because I have never. There's very few times I've had that reaction, and I think they're all related to Marvel Cinematic Universe, where I can feel my balls tighten. Good stuff. I think I turned into a man that day. Anyway, moving on.
Josh?
5.
Number 5 is Ow My Nipples.
What?
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, right. Sorry, it took a hot second.
Drax is amazing in this movie.
Jesus.
Can I just talk about how another movie that just made me really smile as well? But seriously, this movie had probably one of the best.
You ugly.
We are learning about how I have no friends and I am ugly.
This movie probably had one of the best scenes I've seen in a movie, and I think James Gunn just does a fantastic job in this. And it's the scene between Rocket and Yondu.
Oh yeah,
That scene
such a great scene.
fucking heavy and amazing.
yeah.
And also
He's so real,
Yeah.
emotionally, with these retarded characters.
yeah, and it's
Like-
it's really good. And there's something I don't know, and there's also something about Yondu just killing his whole crew.
Have you seen?
There's something about Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, like
Have you seen the deleted scene of Yondu showing up in Ragnarok?
no,
Which dates like when Ragnarok is happening? It's happening at the same time. as all the
oh
other movies.
weird. No,
So it's the part where the executioner, you know, the fucking doc from the
Carl Urban.
Carl
Yeah.
Urban is being instructed to cut off the head of one of the villagers or whatever, the Asgardian people.
yeah,
And right as he's about to do it, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Yondu comes break through the crowd. And he's like, you can't, hold on a second. Which way is the amphitheater? Like, over there. He's like, all right, carry on. Just walks off.
I can picture Michael Rooker saying it just like that.
yeah. There's this movie has a lot of amazing scenes in it. And like I said, when Yondu is going through his whole ship, just murdering his whole crew for mutiny, there's something
with
amazing.
the whistles?
Yeah, with the whistles, there's something really amazing about that. And I don't know, it's a great character film. I feel like that team has more depth than any of the Marvel teams that we're seeing. And them being thrown into Infinity War is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
And seeing what they're going to take from the whole thing. Plus,
Well,
you know, it's
probably Warlock. But.
yeah.
Anyway.
Plus, it's great.
Yeah.
That's number 5.
Okay.
All right. Number 4, Chris.
My number 4 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Nice.
They say you can't come home again.
You can't, but you can enjoy Spider-Man: Homecoming on Blu-ray and DVD.
Available now.
Laser disc.
And digital, Chris. Don't forget
And digital.
Ultraviolet digital.
We've talked about Spider-Man: Homecoming. At least the people who have already mentioned it have, and this really helps that Tom Holland looks like a teenager, or like a overly small teenager.
Yeah.
He's got the best Aunt May of the three. With
I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
He's got a better support structure with his big friend.
Yeah.
You mean not the not guy from?
From yeah.
Trust me, I noticed. We've got Robert Downey Jr. in it. He kind of sleepwalks, but it's fine because Michael Keaton is amazing as the villain. He's so menacing in a way that even Thanos and Ronan and these giant intergalactic bad guys they're not nearly as threatening as Michael Keaton in a car ride driving to prom.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The gravitas that dude brought to that car ride. Some of it's his eyebrows. He's had
His eyebrows are
but like he rocks it. And then genre for me.
You guys are breaking up again.
Sorry. What do you guys say?
Stop all the downloading.
Hey kids, stop all the downloading.
Stop all the downloading. But no, Spider-Man: Homecoming is super great, and it kind of captures everything that modern Spider-Man should be, and I think it's definitely earned its stripes of being up on the board.
Yeah.
Bird.
Put it on the
Matt,
board.
you're number 4.
You mean my number 4 Ragnarok?
Get out!
Jeez.
No, that's a different movie.
You're fired.
Okay, well, what's your number 4? Is it Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah, it's 4 Ragnarok.
Okay, well, shut up, first of all.
Look, I know some people had issue with the abundance of humor, but I think Thor Ragnarok gets even more bonus points for being that good, considering how awful its first two movies were. Thor needed a genre shakeup. It needed something because I couldn't deal with another Dark World. Like, Thor needed something. And why not lean into his fish out of water, like, comedy aspect and then turn it into a buddy cop movie with the Hulk? Like, why the hell not? And then you have Jeff Goldblum, Valkyrie, killed it. The movie fired on all cylinders for me. I love that they brought in elements of Planet Hulk without turning it into a Planet Hulk movie, like having some of his other buddies be around. And
Just have to assume Planet Hulk's been happening.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce his name? Korg?
Yeah.
The director.
Oh, Taika.
Taika Waititi?
Yeah, the director who played Korg. Like, he was amazing in it. And just everything about the movie made me smile and giggle. And Hela was a great, I wouldn't say she's a great villain, but she was a very imposing villain. And I think the lesson that Thor learned, like, there was actual also character growth for him.
Yeah.
And very few things are going to beat that scene of her grabbing Mjolnir and just crushing it. I cannot wait to see him meeting the Guardians and the two and all of them coming to Earth together. I think the Thor and the Guardians together are going to be a gold mine of interactions. But anyway, back to Thor Ragnarok. Loved it. It was just a really enjoyable and funny film, and I needed that after how bad the first two Thor films were. All right, what you got?
What number?
We're on number 4.
Captain America Civil War.
Don't you mean Captain America Civil War?
No. So, for you guys, it all revolves around that hangar scene. I think that scene is amazing, and I agree that it is the best scene in the movie, best sequence, I guess, in the film. However, I also love the sort of twist toward the end of what the footage was that we had watched earlier, who Winter Soldier had been assassinating, and how it forces the hand of Tony and Cap into the sort of split. And then I love the fight showing up as like the exact shot from the comics of Tony blasting the shield, right?
Yes.
But also that contextually in this universe, it's the opposite of one of my favorite moments from the Avengers, which is the shield bounce of the energy beam. And that it's a direct mirror of that moment. I did like Baron Zemo. He's up there. And really, like, as we've been talking about, like, the more we talk about these villains, the more I think there's like 3 or 4 weak villains that are so weak that we think that Marvel has weak villains. But it's mostly been Thor villains. It's just really just the Dark World villains. And Yellow Jacket. But so there's a lot of moments, and I like the repercussions of Age of Ultron mattering, because otherwise that movie is a complete write-off. Like, we got the vision out of it, and then nothing else really mattered unless we get the Sokovia thing and all that. And it's doing 2 movies' jobs. You know, it is actually the real Avengers sequel, and it is the Captain America cap off to a trilogy, you know? So it finishes the Bucky story arc that we've been going through and handles the work of an Avengers movie that probably should have been, like, we should have been waiting till then to have the Avengers movie, you know? But anyway, so I really still like it a lot. And I like the drama. I think we need like half and half. Otherwise the universe descends into just being goofy.
Josh?
So my number 4 is a movie that I haven't seen yet.
What?
I want you guys to wrap your head around this, because I wasn't going to do, I haven't seen Black Panther, and I'm putting Black Panther at the number 4 spot. What? Hold on.
Okay.
Hold your
This
panties.
better be some great rationale.
Oh, there's some amazing rationale. There isn't.
You son of a bitch.
I can't leave Black Panther off because I'm
Yes,
putting
you
it
can
low
if you
with
haven't
you.
seen it.
Yes, you literally can if you haven't seen it.
The hype is strong with this movie.
Fine. You know what? I'm not adding that point. Black Panther just gets no points from you.
How does it not get any points from
You
me?
didn't see it. You don't
He
know.
didn't get any points from you. But
Okay.
he couldn't put it low because
Right.
that seems shitty. It gives
You
the-
could give it an I and incomplete.
And yeah, you should.
No, wait, hold on. We're giving Josh shit. Please continue your explanation.
Yes.
There's a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype built around this movie. This movie is doing extremely well in the box office. It has broken and shattered many different preconceptions on how the idea of a black superhero would work in this world and how it would work as a marketing figure.
Also, he has seen Civil War. One of my points about Civil War that I forgot
Yeah.
is the introduction of Black Panther.
Black Panther
It was one of my
is
favorite things
amazing in Civil War. The character setup, it's great that they had a movie set up this character, and then I'm waiting to see how it all pans off in that universe. I think it's a strong number 3 movie on my list when you look at the list, but I haven't seen it, and I'm only basing this off of the hype and the reviews that I've read about the film.
When will you see it?
Hopefully this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you next week tell us if it changes?
Yeah, I will let you know.
Okay.
At the moment, it doesn't look like it will.
I'll allow it.
Good. Chris, put it on the board.
No,
I'm not counting it.
All right.
I'll
Number
have no
3.
part of this farce.
Number 3, Chris.
Number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy the First.
Really?
Yes.
Cray-cray.
It's important to think about when we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy how much it kind of changed. The Marvel Universe, Cinematic Universe, is all about periodically changing. And Guardians was the first real test of, okay, well, people kind of know Iron Man, and people kind of know Captain America. Nobody knows Star-Lord. If we can make a hit out of Star-Lord, we can make a hit out of anyone. And this was the first test of, like, if we give audiences characters that they've never heard of, will audiences care? And because James Gunn is great, and the script is great, and the whole movie's phenomenal, people actually give a shit about the Guardians of the Galaxy. They've been transformed in comics the way Iron Man was transformed to be more like Robert Downey Jr. And I find this movie incredibly rewatchable. There's always something interesting going on. And we didn't talk about this with Guardians 2, but also, Nebula in this movie. Karen Gillan is amazing in a very kind of subtle role that kind of cemented her as the most successful person that left Doctor Who to do something and actually does something.
Yeah. She is so electric that it actually hurts the Gamora character for me. Like, she's so good, and I just don't give a shit about Gamora. And it's not the fault of the actress. It's just that's the only character that doesn't feel like she's as deep as the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, she's a normal Marvel character in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, which is weird.
She's from Asgard somewhere.
Yeah.
Normal space character.
But I think everything about Guardians really works. I find it incredibly rewatchable. And I think everyone is really charming, particularly Batista. Who the fuck knew he was going to be that funny?
Totally out of left field for me.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Oh.
Yeah, and we could talk about how great Guardians is forever, but I'm not going to. Regardless, it's at number 3.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is the accent I'm not allowed to use anymore. Black Panther. Now, is it because it just came out and it's freshest in my mind?
Yes.
It's there's not a doubt that that's not part of it, but it's also impossible to deny how good this film was. The villain, the characters, the supporting cast, the visuals, the story, the themes, the everything about it. It had enough humor, but it didn't use the humor to make the movie silly. It took another character that was very unknown and underutilized and turned him into a sensation. And it showed that you could make a movie with a black superhero without pandering. Because even though they heavily marketed it towards African Americans, it never pandered to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it wasn't insulting.
Yeah, like I think one of my favorite reviews or mentions on social media I saw was someone saying how happy they were that they could all go see a movie in the theater that didn't have the words Tyler Perry in front of it. But no, I loved it. Michael B. Jordan killed it. He killmongered it, as it were.
Stop.
He's got to keep it going. There's probably a
scene in South Korea when she throws the spear, and that's all I'll say because Josh hasn't seen it yet. But the car chase with the spear, fantastic. The fact that the fight scene in the casino was all one shot, was amazing. And I love that it's a movie that actually has consequences. What happens at the end of Black Panther is going to affect future Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I thoroughly loved it. I walked out of that theater going, yup, this is a top tier Marvel film. So yeah. Number 3, Doug.
Black Panther. The costume designs, the set designs. I think this is the best assembled cast that isn't a team movie.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of it culturally is on par with the only thing that comes close is Wonder Woman, as far as needing to happen and being pulled off properly in a way that is addressing the issues without preaching. But and here's my other thing is that outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like everybody gets superheroes. Superheroes are necessary right now, but it is very nice to break the narrative of Black people being slaves, prisoners, beaten, always victims, even at any point, and to show power and intelligence, futuristic society built entirely by Africans is important to break a lot of different stereotypes and is more necessary than any 12 Years a Slave will ever be. We already know that narrative. It's old and we get it. At a certain point, you're starting to support it by reinforcing it over and over and over again, by repeating yourself. Whereas we need something like this, and it's great and it's really well done. I think it even beats Wonder Woman at its own game as far as doing, like, it has very similar tropes. The two characters are designed very similarly in their backstories, and this separates it from the pack. They didn't do the perspective of the white guy, which is important. They let Black people make this movie, and that was important. And I think it's going to age really well. I think this is, like, it just came off really, really, really good. And I like the way they script. There's a little bit at the beginning, and you don't have the context until later.
Yeah. And
then Killmonger is, I think, he's fighting with Loki for best villain they've ever had. So, you know. And yeah, it has consequences as heavy as an Avengers 1 or a Civil War, in my opinion, as far as the world being a little different at the end.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Also, Shuri, man.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. All the women in the movie, all of them are like, I want an action figure. Like, and I haven't had that feeling in a long time about anybody I didn't know before I walked into a movie. You know, I love all of his guards and his sister, the whole nine.
All right, Josh.
My number 3 is Civil War.
And we're getting into it.
You guys haven't talked about the opening scene of Civil War.
Civil War.
With Crossbones.
Oh,
with them fighting Crossbones.
Blowing up.
And Scarlet Witch being responsible for why the whole movie is happening. And then Scarlet Witch's relationship with Vision is established in this movie. And Black Panther is established in this movie. And then Giant Man comes about. And then Spider-Man is in this movie. And holy shit, we knew every country they were in because it was boom. Giant letters. Yeah. Giant letters. Berlin. It's like this movie is kind of like one of those things. It's the glue that holds this universe together even more. Because you know, Hydra's still present. You know, Baron Zemo is a fantastic villain. There are still forces at play that are playing in this universe that may or may not be working for Thanos or working in their own agenda without them being aware who they're working for. Plus, Captain America just gets better and better and better as the main Marvel hero and the main Marvel character that pretty much the Marvel universe is built upon, besides Namor.
But that's another thing I was going to say is that about Black Panther, though, is that character is just as important as a Cap as far as being important to the team. He's a main Avenger, and he got the respect. He got a movie that deserved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cap is doing what Superman should have been doing.
Yeah.
For the DCU, is like holding him down as a moral compass.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing about Captain America in this, is that he is that strong moral compass that keeps the team from not murdering everybody.
True.
Facts. All right.
Let's get to the nitty gritty. My number 2
Let's get this
is Black Panther.
Woo!
We've talked about a lot. You guys have covered pretty much everything else. I just want to talk about Ryan Coogler for a second.
So good. That's a good director.
I saw an article online that described him as the next Spielberg. And after seeing both Creed and this in the same week, I'd be hard-pressed to fight that description. He's taken 2 radically different kind of movies and turned out spectacular ones. You know, the father-son boxing aspect of Creed, and then, oh, by the way, here, build up Wakanda, who we've seen on screen for about 2 seconds in the teaser trailer to Civil War, in the stinger for Civil War. Yeah. Just build all that. Just you get the colors and the wardrobes and everything. Just go.
I also love his approach where like he's treated this major adaptation of a superhero property and this sequel to a 40-year-old boxing movie. And at no point did it feel like he thought he was making a sequel or a continuation or an adaptation. It always feels like you could just watch his movie and be fine. Black Panther stands alone. And so does Creed. You don't have to have seen Rocky. If you saw Rocky 1, it will enhance your experience. You definitely don't need anything in between. This feels like that felt like the first spiritual sequel to the actual Rocky movie, the one that got nominated for an Oscar and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's also one more thing I would like to mention about Black Panther. You know, we talked about Michael B. Jordan, and he's phenomenal. We don't talk about Chadwick Boseman,
he's so good.
Who has such gravitas to him.
Yeah,
I would actually say M'Baku.
M'Baku is pretty great, but
Yumbaku.
All right, well, yeah.
Oh, Kogasu in chat is picking up my awesomeness.
Stop
and
it.
He said Black Panther.
Okay, well, Matt, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is hold on, I gotta think of a way to.
No, just say it.
Are you
Spider-Man, but the 2 is an I.
Job, loser.
That makes 0 sense, and I love it.
Doesn't matter.
Saki curse.
Spider-Man: Homecoming. Man, this movie gets bonus points for not forcing another reboot of an origin story, and letting Spider-Man be established from the get-go. And the mentor-mentee relationship with Tony Stark alongside, I mean, we've all talked about it already, the fantastic villain with the Vulture. Even the Shocker, I thought, had some moments.
Both Shockers.
Yep.
Two in them. Anyway, Shockers. There were two Shockers in this movie.
I think Tom Holland as Peter Parker killed it. We've talked about before how Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man because he had the quips in the comedy, and Tobey Maguire, was that him?
Yeah, it's him.
No, that's
Sorry, it's been so long since he's been relevant. Was a great Peter, but Tom Holland merged the two and actually was great at both aspects of Spider-Man's life. And I think introducing his buddy, his best friend from the comics, even if they changed the name, added another welcome dynamic to it and made it feel a little more grounded.
Well,
Also,
he got the third aspect that neither of the other two had, which is that he actually felt like a kid.
yes, exactly. And add to that the fact that they didn't try and rehash another Green Goblin storyline, which they very well could have.
They could probably pull it off, but it's just like after the Avengers, I was ready for another Hulk movie, but before the Avengers, I was not.
Yeah.
This is like, they've won back so much cred, I trust them.
What about you, Doug?
What? 2 is the Avengers. 1. For me, we've already covered a lot of it. For me, the biggest thing that they pulled off, that Joss pulled off, that the actors too pulled off for that movie was that they weren't really those characters until the Avengers, for me. They were versions of them. You know, it was Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. It was like Cap was pretty Cap, you know, but the Hulk had never been on screen, really. And Thor was almost Thor until he shows up in Avengers and he's literally doing actual Shakespearean dialogue, which is Josh should have written the scripts for all of them because he's the only person I've seen pull it off. And it's funny, but it's also, and you're understanding them, but they're clearly not from here. Hulk was scary, which is a necessity. It's kind of like that scene also in Dark Knight where the interrogation scene and Batman finally meets the Joker, and you realize neither of them were really the character until they meet. And they reflect each other so hard. They're foils, you know? And so in Avengers, Tony, Cap, Hulk, and Thor all being together made them behave, and Hawkeye and Black Widow made them behave like what I'm used to them behaving like. And then the sequence where he gave everybody a job in a battle, and you realize this team actually works, even though it's crazy and it shouldn't. Like Cap telling everybody what to do, Hulk smash, you know, that whole lot. And it's hilarious and great, you know. So, and you can't beat the feeling of there really wasn't anything that had ever been done like that. And I'm sitting in the theater and watching. I don't think I've ever been happier than watching this finally come together and it being good. So, anyway. Josh, 2.
My number 2 is Winter Soldier. And we've talked a lot about this film. We've talked a lot about the aspects of this film. Bucky as a villain is great.
So it's your number 2nd one. So would that make it 2 winter, 2 soldier?
Stop.
It's 2 soldiery, 2 wintry.
Oh, my bad. My bad. I like hearing the actual pain in Chris's voice.
I hate you guys. Bucky as a villain is great, and him switching to be like, you know, the anti-hero type character is also great. Also, the fact that Hydra is within is also really awesome. That S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra are one and the same. And they talk about a lot of really interesting shit that if you take a little time researching, just saying, it's
got some basis on it.
It's got some really interesting things going on, that movie. People who are paying attention, you should research it. And if you lean a certain way, you're a fucking Nazi. But the movie's great. Everything about the movie is great, and it establishes even more Captain America greatness.
Word.
Not a Hydra member.
So this brings us to the finale because, boy, who knew that 10 each, although to be fair, that makes it 40, would take up our entire show. But you know what? This has
Now,
been
what
a
was your
fun
number
journey.
two?
My number 2 was Spider-Man,
Okay.
but with the 2 as an I.
This has been good. Are we? Can we guess whose numbers are what? Like, where's the?
Okay, yeah, Chris. What do we think Chris's number 1 is? Because I don't think any of us have been paying attention.
Nope.
What do
Well, my number 1.
Yeah.
And
Is it Spider-Man?
No,
Is it Winter Soldier?
it is.
Yeah.
I thought about this a lot, and my number 1 comes down to Winter Soldier, which I think is the first superhero movie that people treated like an actual movie. Because superhero movies have always been kind of relegated to like, oh, it's fine, it's popcorn, there's a big swirly dew in the sky, it's whatever. And Winter Soldier came out, and everyone's like, wow, this is like an actual honest-to-God movie. And I think that this movie really kind of, number one, brought the Russo brothers into kind of legitimacy, but also really established Chris Evans as Captain America. This kind of firmed him up, so to speak, in a way that he was on the verge of in Avengers and a little bit in his own movie. But I think this movie was really the man out of time fighting a different set of morals. And let's be real, that scene in the elevator is the greatest fight scene in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, it's like the top 2 are complete opposites of each other. The Civil War hangar fight, the elevator with just Cap and 7 guys.
Oh my God, I occasionally find that on YouTube to watch. It makes me just blissfully happy.
Now might be a time for some of you to leave.
Don't worry, I'll watch that after you're all gone.
Yeah.
Matt, is your number 1 also Winter Soldier?
It is.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, Winter Soldier, but the 1 is an I.
You're fucking dead to me.
Chris, are you looking in chat?
Yeah, I am.
Because Kogasu is right there with me, and I fucking love it.
I am, and I hate it. Talk about why you like Guardians. Winter Soldier.
2 Soldier.
Exactly. So I loved it because it was. I might be wrong, but I believe it's the first Marvel movie that, like you said, branches out to a different genre and tries to become more than just a superhero movie. It was a spy movie in the same way Ant-Man was a heist film. Yeah. And I absolutely love that aspect, the intrigue, the double crosses, the who was actually working for who the whole time. And you add that to the fact that it was almost like a Avengers 1.5 in that it was the first big team-up film outside of the Avengers. It had a lot of other characters come together for it. The elevator scene, the Nick Fury running away in the driving away in the car scene.
Yeah, the car chase was amazing.
A great scene. The finale with the fights on top of the crashing helicarriers.
Yeah.
The whole reveal of who the true villain was and the follow-up to how it actually affected the cinematic universe. Who will forget the first time someone leaned over and whispered like
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra. Because that became a meme. That was a great meme. But the name dropping of the future stuff, like it felt more than Iron Man 2, Captain America Winter Soldier was like a true expansion of the universe without suffering the film. And it's that movie that makes me so confident in Infinity War because the Russo brothers are killing it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And that one scene, the first scene where Bucky catches the shield and you're like, oh, snap. Plus, I know Chris is happy because the movie featured Barack the Leper.
Batroc the Leper!
Chris loves terrible Z-list villains.
He is
Batroc the Leper is one of his favorites.
Love it. He's on my boy list with Fin Fang Foom.
He's the Marvel equivalent of Chris's love of the KG Beast for DC.
Oh,
KG
definitely,
is
yeah.
cool.
Agreed.
Cool.
I'm just saying. Yeah, but no, I loved it. It was a great spy movie. It was a great superhero movie, and it was a great MCU movie in that it moved the story forward for the universe. It's one of the Spider-Man, Thor, and Black Panther. My 2, 3, and 4 are also the 3 most recent Marvel movies, which I think just goes to show that as time goes on, these movies are only improving. But Winter Soldier is so good. It's been out for this long, and I can still go back and rewatch it, and I don't feel like I'm disappointed at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Winter Soldier, bruh. Or
I believe your number one is also Winter Soldier?
What?
I said, Doug, I believe your number one is also Winter Soldier?
Oh, yeah, it is. Every time this thing comes on TV, if I catch it in the middle, I realize I had that feeling like when Die Hard comes on, and I'm catching it in the middle, and there's no way I'm changing the channel now. And I'm going to sit there and like, oh, it's this part, audio, fucking up at work, wherever the fuck I am. And it's the elevator scene. It's the fact that I remember in the theater when the mask came off and it was Bucky, and I had forgotten that that's a secret. And there was audible gas from a couple of people in the theater, and I was like, oh, how good for them. That's great. But yeah, and then addressing the World Security Council problem that Avengers brought up, the Operation Paperclipness that was going on underneath the surface with Hydra was relevant, and I thought sent a little bit of a political thing before the Nazis had actually come back. The Hail Hydra stuff, the mention of Stephen Strange.
There's one thing that we have not mentioned yet that the movie does so well. Oh crap! I just lost it. Oh no!
Well, it's the best director.
Oh no! There was a. Keep talking. If it comes back to me, I'll jump in.
It was its pacing is amazing. The sequence, yeah.
This movie actually made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. good.
Yes,
it sure did.
Winter Soldier is so good, it actually made the TV show good.
It was lame. It was a lame duck sitting there, not being the show it was supposed to be. And then immediately after Winter Soldier, it stopped treading water and became a show.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I remember Chris and I were watching it, and it was like night and day.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Those last 8 episodes are tremendous.
They're great, and season 2 was great.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh my God, this is the show it was always supposed to be. I only wish they'd come out of the gate a little stronger. I feel like they were overdoing the sleeping until the giant wakes up sort of thing. Yeah, they're like, what do we even do until Winter Soldier? The whole show's based on whatever. But yeah, it did a ton of stuff that is just absolutely pitch perfect, and it's rewatchable. And the thing is, it's imminently rewatchable without really being funny at all. That it doesn't have a crutch of jokes at all. It's just really cool the whole time. And yeah, it establishes Cap in the now, which is the real Cap that we all experience, the guy out of time, dealing with like who he was, all of his friends being dead, then finding one friend alive.
Speaking of, we also Anthony Mackie, our homegrown hero.
Yeah.
Nola.
Bro. You can find him down at Brothers in the middle of the night getting chicken,
Falcon.
Yeah.
Side note, he loves Superior Grill and Superior Seafood. He eats there all the time. He goes golfing with the managers.
I feel really bad for
him. There was something else I was going to say about Winter Soldier being good. I lost it because Matt talked.
Sorry.
He's got the disease where you forget what you were talking about.
Yes, he does.
Oh yeah, that's what I think the thing that makes Iron Man 3 suffer in people's minds, they mention a whole lot of other things, but I think what's actually disappointing is subconscious. which is that there were no other fucking Avengers in that movie. And I think Bruce Banner, at least, should have been somewhere in the film, not turning into Hulk as a background support character.
Yeah.
Because what Cap did was immediately take all the people that were relevant, took the people that were relevant to a Cap storyline and made them supporting cast members. You know, it was like a Black Widow movie would obviously should have Hawkeye somewhere in there. In fact, it should probably be the story of them meeting. You know, you can flash it back a little to what the stuff they're talking about in Avengers 1. But Iron Man 3 didn't have anybody else. It's just Tony. And right after Avengers, you can't put the cork back in the bottle and go, we're just going to have individual stories and we're not going to acknowledge that these people are obviously friends now. You can get rid of Thor and he can go to fucking space or whatever. But like Tony and Bruce's little bromance that formed in that movie was really important to people. And then he's just in this after credits thing that doesn't even matter where he fell asleep. And it's so disappointing. Even though the movie itself, I thought, said a lot. Winter Soldier did the right thing. Bringing in Black Widow and Nick Fury is the right way to go, you know? So anyway.
Josh, you have Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe.
I do. I feel like this is the most important movie in the whole Marvel universe.
I'm glad you said Marvel. You're going to go really far.
Yeah, and the whole universe. This is the most important movie in the Marvel universe because this is the tonal shift right here. This is when they realize they can take characters that no one have heard of and do something with them. And there are a lot of great Marvel characters they can pull from that aren't normal household names.
Patrox and Lipea.
Well, they can go insane. The thing
yeah.
about Guardians is it breaks the seal on the insanity that's in a comic
This is
book
why you
universe.
have Ragnarok. This is why you have Doctor Strange. This is even why you can actually have a real Spider-Man. The tone starts shifting a little so you know that they can be funny. It can be an enjoyable. It can be a comedy.
Guardians is their Fantastic Four. They replaced them. They're the family, space, lighthearted, but crazy sci-fi shit coming at them at all times.
And that's the other thing. It's also a great family story, too. The characters are great. The whole team works in a weird way that no one gets along with each other, but they all come together and they work as a great team. And plus, Chris Pratt is a fucking delight as in the Marvel universe. This is an amazing addition. Imagine just him and Captain America feeding off of each other in Infinity War. Like, there's this. I feel like this is probably the most important movie because of this reason, because of the tonal shift, because James Gunn is now getting praise for doing something, and he's taking characters that you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah.
You know, this is an important movie for Marvel, and this is an important movie for a director and a writer.
And for Michael Rooker.
Yeah. John Doo.
Who finally got to be liked in the role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did it. We went through all the Marvel movies, and I have a list for you guys.
Yes. Wait. I'm going to write this down because I'm going to tweet it out.
Okay.
Piss.
So do I. What was it about this?
Can I guess, Chris? Number 1 is definitely Winter Soldier, right?
Correct. Number 1 is Winter Soldier with 71 points.
Go backwards.
Okay. Thor, The Dark World at number 18 with 8 points. Number 17, The Incredible Hulk with 10 points. Number 16, Iron Man 2 with 15 points. Number 15, Thor, the first one, with 17 points. Number 14, Age of Ultron with 20 points. Number 13, Doctor Strange with 25 points. Number 12, Captain America, the First Avenger with 27 points. Number 11, Iron Man 3 with 30 points. Number 10, Ant-Man with 37 points. Number 9, Iron Man, the first, with 40 points. Number 8, Thor Ragnarok with 49 points. Number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with 50 points. Number 6, Captain America Civil War with 52 points. In a tie for 5th place, Spider-Man Homecoming and Avengers the First with 55 points. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy with 58 points. Number 2, with an asterisk, Black Panther with 64 points.
Yeah.
Big ol' asterisk. And number 1, in first place with 71 points, Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
I like the note you ended that on.
So, if I'm reading this correctly,
You are.
that means Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole is the most beloved franchise with actually no wait, hold on. Captain America. Captain America narrowly edging out Guardians of the Galaxy, followed by the next big trilogy would be Thor. No, Iron Man. Then Thor. Huh. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I think our list is very well.
I think we probably lined up by box office almost.
I want to break the tie. I want to break the tie. Show of hands, who puts Spider-Man over Avengers?
You can't break the tie.
Wait, okay.
Are you serious?
Hold on. Then we're gonna
3 versus 2.
then we're gonna leave it to Kogasu. Give our chat a chance. Kogasu.
Kogasu, answer right
Spider-Man?
now. Avengers or Spider-Man?
And then we have to factor in Saki's vote. And Saki votes Spider-Man.
Okay, that's 1 for Spider-Man.
Get on here. Come on, Saki.
I lost my face.
I lost my face. Saki's our Rorschach.
I was petting the dog. Sorry.
Is that what they call it nowadays? Apple. All right, I know there's a time delay, so we're waiting on chat. Oh, Kogasu says Avengers. We're back to a deadlock.
You
We're back to 3-3.
can't break this tie.
Well, in that case, it's time to flip a coin.
No, that doesn't work.
It doesn't?
Why don't we let the box office actually, decide if Avengers wins, basically.
Yeah, it does.
So, or Rotten Tomatoes. You can do that too.
Well, in that case, Spider-Man beats it.
No, so we've got a tie again. No,
Yeah.
no.
All right, we'll keep it a tie.
Keep it a tie.
Rotten Tomatoes audience score or Rotten Tomatoes critic score?
Critics has it higher than
No, we should do audience score because we're audience that we're talking.
Right.
Or are we critics?
Guys, we'll keep it as a tie. I'm sorry, it was a terrible idea.
This is so weird.
It can't be broken.
We have a show because therefore we're critics.
It kept evening out. Okay, yeah, we're critics.
Yeah, we're critics because we
Can't be broken.
Ridiculous.
No, this. I think this worked out really well because
Besides which, we're not actually coming up with the list, so we don't have to break the tie. They're just at the same seed
yeah.
in the battle. I think we all know Winter Soldier wins, though. So
yeah, Winter Soldier is the best.
Winter Soldier by no surprise to anyone.
yeah.
I agree.
I think they all lined up pretty objectively where they probably should be. Like,
I agree. I like how this list played out. And honestly, there's not a whole lot that I would fight to change on it.
no.
I think it'll make a fun video when we record it one day after we add Infinity War into the mix.
Oh yeah.
And after Josh sees Black Panther,
Yes.
Close.
All right, guys. Let's
Asterisk.
wrap it up. This has been a long-ass show.
yeah.
All right.
It's over.
Let's do the X-Men movies next.
All right, I'm down with that.
That's
So
Yeah.
let's give it a couple of weeks.
I will.
Yeah.
I will definitely pick X-Men Origins Wolverine at the #1 spot.
Fuck off.
Don't at me, bro.
Over Logan.
Nah.
Kidding. Awful.
You're awful.
No, not Logan. Wolverine is awful.
And you're awful.
Oh my god.
And your
Get out of
opinions
here.
are awful.
Aw. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll be back next week. We promise not to talk about any Marvel movies. Oh, they are.
Josh and Doug left before we even stopped.
Wow, we're still live, and they just fucked off. Okay, cool. All right, we'll see you next week. Promise no Marvel movie talk.
Hey, it was a fun discussion.
It was. I liked it.
Alive.
I know.